Hey everybody, what's up? Ham here. Rainy day, but it's all right. We like it. Not really. I'm kind of aching for the sun. Our pool's open and I just want to be out on the deck enjoying that, but we need things to grow too, so why not flood this crazy rainy spring that we're having? But at least I think what it's doing is washing away the pollen, I hope. Hopefully allergies won't be that bad this year. Okay. So anyway, today I just want to talk about being a woman. Not completely, but just some aspects about being a woman in the world. And what sparked me to bring this up was the last video I did about being a woman in martial arts, right? A couple little things I left out. But also, I was reading this article, or I just stumbled upon an article that says about women in Sweden being harassed in the workplace. Something I read on Facebook. So I shared it and I wrote at the top, I've been sexually harassed at pretty much every single job I've ever worked, except for the one where I was only working with women. Imagine that. So why am I bringing this up? Well, I understand that although in the time of 2019 with a lot of gender fluidity and people identifying as different things, being on the female side, we'll say, or not being considered a male, we'll say, or considering yourself a male, you're going to experience the world differently, right? No matter which way you slice it. There are going to be things that are going to be more of a challenge in the way of proving yourself, in the way that you need to conduct yourself in order to get by. Now, we talk about that being fair. Well, of course it's not fair that you have to change aspects of who you are or how you walk through life or, kind of flow through your day. But it is what it is. We can't just bitch about it and want it to change because that's kind of how it is, right? To make a change takes a mass movement. It takes not living in a capitalist society where they bank on you being insecure to make money and to keep everything flowing and that kind of thing. So let me just gain my thoughts here. So that kind of sparked something in my head, wait a second, I can't even work a job. I can't even have a career without being sexually harassed in some capacity. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Imagine being a parent and you have a daughter and no matter where she works, there's going to be some form of sexual harassment. It's how do you even have the balls, we'll just use that term, to need to, or the lack thereof, I should say, to need to control someone in such a way to make yourself feel better or stronger or more significant that you have to stoop that low in your place of employment where that person makes an income and lives their life to be bothering them in a sexual way. That's pretty deep if you think about it. It's pretty messed up if you think about it. I can't even make food, money for my kid, and if I want to, I may get sexually harassed. And like I said, the numbers are out there. Of every job I've ever had, the only time I was not sexually harassed was when I worked with all women. Right? So, it's funny because you just kind of expect it. And that sucks. And I'm not someone who thinks that gender roles are a horrible idea. I think that men and women will just speak in those terms for the sake of this conversation, this little argument. Naturally, by nature, through, evolution, just through just birds, dolphins, whatever, male, female, there's a role that's played, right? To, to kind of finish out the bigger picture. So that bigger picture being, just on an animal, on the terms of animals, like reproduction, keeping the species going. The males have a certain role and the females have a certain role to what their strengths are, to what nature has, dubbed their strengths, has evolved them into in order to survive, for survival, right? But as humans, we live a little bit different. We live a more, we live less instinctually, but it's still inside of us. But because we don't learn about ourselves on a human level, on an animal level, we don't know how to cope with these things, right? We don't know how to deal with these feelings, these emotions, or how to compartmentalize them in a way that we can live in this society humanely instead of us acting on our instincts, because as humans we don't understand necessarily our instincts. We don't understand how to control them, if that makes sense. So even in martial arts, I always have to worry about when a new person comes into the dojo, a new male student, my first thought is I have to act a certain way and approach them a certain way because I don't know them. And now we're about to be touching each other. And I'm allowing this person into my personal space to be touching me. And what are their intentions? And, and you have to think too, as a woman, if someone's trying to give you a little extra attention, a little extra talking to you, bringing things up, just out in the real world, you get suspicious, like maybe this person's trying to talk to me, trying to hit on me, whatever. Well, same goes true in the dojo. Like if someone's being a little new and being a little bit too, or they're just starting noticing you and like they're being a little bit too much like talking to you, if you were two men, you probably wouldn't think much of it. You might think maybe they want something from you, like they see that you're really good at what you're doing, so they want to learn. But as a female, the stakes are higher, I think, in that kind of situation. And you have to be more cautious. But you have to be more cautious on such like a scary, like dangerous level, of being taken advantage of. So as humans, what causes us to take advantage of people in that way? Like I never saw it. I could never, and I'm not a man. And I'm not saying women don't do it too. Like I'm not trying to say men do things that women don't do, but I'm a woman, so I'm presenting it in this way and what I'm experiencing. So what makes people feel like that's how they need to control someone to feel better about themselves? I never got the concept of like forcing yourself sexually onto someone. Like I said, I'm not a man. I don't understand like what hormones and instincts, like like I was talking about, like these human drive, this human instinct that we have to feel that we have the right, or just like men have this instinct to dominate and to control, right? Possibly, am I going in the right direction here? So I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what it feels like to want to like force my will on someone in that way, while someone's like clearly saying no, or just like rape in general. If you want to take it that far, like forcing your will on someone while they're fucking screaming and crying. Obviously, like we all know, it's not about the sex, it's about the control. So even so, like I just can't wrap my head around that concept. Maybe I'm just too empathetic. Maybe I'm just what I mean is I can't gather that mentality. Like I understand why it happens, but I don't, like I can't put myself in that like thought process, like what would drive me. And maybe it is a certain instinct as a human animal to want to dominate something, right? So, it happens in the workplace, it happens, in gyms, and no matter where you go, right? I often dress very modestly, and I don't try to, you know, exude this air of like wanting to be approached in a romantic or, you know, kind of way, I guess. But that sucks because, hey, I'm working out, my body's looking good. I want to wear tight clothes. I want to wear belly shirts. I want to wear like, you know, shorts and stuff. But I often just like don't go there because I know what kind of attention it brings. And it's not fair, right? We all say this, like we should be able to do and wear what we want. Excuse me, sorry, it's like battery low. But we all know that like if you want to be safe in this world, like being a single mom, like I don't feel safe. That sucks, right? I've learned to get along, and I've learned to like there are bigger fish to fry, there are bigger things to worry about than that kind of stuff, and you just have to go with the flow and live just like any other, you know, type of place people may live. Like you like say you live in the jungle, well, you're not going to get a dry day, you know, and you're just going to have to adapt to that. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. That's something I wanted to add to the martial art video that I just made. It was just the fact of having to, I think this is where I was trying to go, having to worry if the person touching you is just being, you know, there for the right reasons, like doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you know, it sucks thinking no matter what career path I choose to settle down in, you know, there's always that worry. There's always men around. There's always somebody who's going to cross the line. And you know, being able to support my family, it shouldn't have to be that way. Like it shouldn't have to be like, well, no matter what job I get, unless I work in a very specific place, but a strong HR department, or like maybe teachers don't deal with that, like who knows. But it's just strange and very unfair that people can't control themselves. So being a woman in this world, you know, you have to operate at a much higher frequency. You have to be more aware. And that sucks that men aren't, you know, held to the same standard in that way. Like, that's why, like, go back to my video about raising boys. You know, it's very important to raise our boys well. It's one reason why I'm happy I have a daughter. People sometimes feel the other way around because, like, that's raising a boy is, like, almost more responsibility because we're stuck in this man's world, which isn't a bad thing if people just don't abuse their power. You know, I don't care who's running the world as long as they're being fair. Male, female, whatever gender you identify as. As long as you're being fair, right? That shouldn't be the matter. So, you know, with that said, with all of this said, as females, always take a big look at the environment you're planning on getting yourself into, whether it be a gym, whether it be a club, whether it be a job, party, wherever you're going. Just always scan and think twice about the situation. This is just safety in general now. Now I'm giving like safety tips, but and don't get caught up in the fact that you want to be there. Get caught up in the fact that, okay, because we live in this world, let's just be realistic. I have to be more cautious in these kind of situations. And unfortunately learn to accept that because the world isn't changing anytime soon. We can bitch and moan and fight and we can make little strides, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm still going to get touched at work. We're talked to a certain way at work. We're told to smile. Like the last job I worked, I'm smiling. Don't worry. Don't you worry. But thanks for reminding me. And it's like, I don't even care if I'm told to smile. Like that's, I tell people to smile all the time. It's just the context you do it in. All right. So I don't know. I'll talk more about this. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Weird. Be nice to girls. Love you.